Hello guys, how are you? I'm Rosana Jatobá and now I have the pleasure to talk to the Open Innovation Manager in Brazil from a global not-for-profit organization that wants to multiply the transforming power of entrepreneurs. I'm talking about Endeavor Brazil and I'll talk to Giovanna Fiorini. Nice to have you here, Giovanna. How are you? Hello, Rosana. How are you? Thank you for inviting me. It's going to be great to talk to you. To start our conversation, tell our audience what Endeavor Brazil does. So I think you gave a great introduction about our work. But just to make it more tangible for everybody, Endeavor believes that entrepreneurs can change the country, and through entrepreneurs we can evolve as an economy because entrepreneurs are creating innovative solutions, they are creating new positions. So by supporting entrepreneurs, we support Brazil, our economy, to develop. So we've been in Brazil for 20 years. We are present in 37 countries, so we usually work in developing countries, countries that need to develop, and entrepreneurs are a way for us to get to a better future. That's what we do, and that's why we have entrepreneurs as the focus of our work. And we will talk and we work with scale ups, companies that are scaling. You mentioned scale ups. Tell us what is the definition of this word. Right from the beginning, we think about scale, continuous growth, progressive growth. Exactly. We say that scale ups are the elder sisters of startups. These are companies that have already started. So startups have innovative ideas that want to become a reality. Scale up, they already have a validated business model. They are attracting, they are scaling, they have a robust operation. They have some employees, 20 to 30 people. They have a minimum revenue that they have every year. They already work with large companies, they have large cases, so they are startups at a later stage, more mature startups. And these are companies that usually grow in an accelerated fashion, usually 20% a year in terms of revenue or employees for 3 consecutive years. But at Endeavor, we have companies that are growing over 100% a year. So it's you're like you make this connection between large consolidated companies and the scale ups. Yes, we support entrepreneurs. Our mission is to accelerate the entrepreneurs that accelerate Brazil. And we do that in different ways. One of them is connecting the entrepreneurs with robust companies such as clubbing. So our goal here is to support entrepreneurs to have access to market and capital. We know that these large companies have available both the opportunity for these entrepreneurs to have access to new markets, and there is a lot of money available that can be invested into these entrepreneurs, so we help them access capital. And thinking about the large companies, we help large companies doing open innovation with these entrepreneurs. And I will tell you what is open innovation. We really like to differentiate it from closed innovation. When we think about closed innovation, it has to do with all the research and development initiatives that happen inside the company only. When we think about open innovation, the idea is to use collective knowledge. So, how to go beyond the borders of your company and interact with the outside to bring new technologies faster, cheaper, with lower costs and risks. So the idea is to use collaboration and technologies that are existent and entrepreneurs that are creating many things and bring that into the organization. And when we think about open innovation, we're thinking about the interaction of different players. It can be a university, a research center, a scale up, a startup, another large company. And for Endeavor, we work with this small part, connecting big business to scale ups, to help scale ups, to access market capital, and to help large companies transform. So bring these new technologies and innovations to the corporation is probably a cheaper way to innovate. And I think that it is it is probably a challenging task, because when you work with a broad environment, you are looking for singularity in this sea of possibilities. What are the criteria and metrics that you use to make this connection between the scale up and a rigid company, a company that is solid? I think the first thing we see as Endeavor is to make sure that the company is a scale up. The company is in the time to become, to have scale. So it has a reasonable amount of employees, has a revenue, large cases, so working with other companies. So we see some growth metrics to guarantee that the company is a scale up. We see the profile of the company, the profile of the entrepreneur. We see track record, experience. So we see the scale up on both sides. Growth, make sure that it's a company that is scaling. And we see the entrepreneur profile. And when we do the match with the challenge of the large company, the first thing is to understand very well what is the challenge, what is the pain. So we work a lot to understand what is a challenge, how this challenge is resolved today, the step by step to resolve a problem, and how we can find a solution that brings more efficiency or a new line of revenue. And talking about metrics, it can be with regards to efficiency to reduce cost, so bring a solution that will bring greater efficiency, or a solution that can help you generate a new line of revenue. So invest in a new model or a new business, or add a new solution to an existing service. So we look for solutions that can help. And what is important is for the large company to know what the pain is. It needs to be a latent pain, because executives are very, very busy. Lots of projects need to be developed. So if it's not a real pain, it's difficult to develop the project and to give it traction. And always focus on the pain rather than solution. Many times I need an app to do something. But that's the solution. What is the pain behind it? And why do you think you need that app? Because then we start to investigate further, and we can see that it's a different pain. There can be 3, 4 different solutions, and the app is just one of them. So it must be clear what the pain is. And then there are many solutions in the market that can help with that challenge or problem. Also, Giovanna, because when you focus in the wrong place, that can make many startups to go bankrupt. So we have to see what is the pain and address it correctly, right? Yes. That's another thing that is very important for entrepreneurs. You need to resolve a pain. No use creating a very innovative solution if there's no demand, if there's no real pain. So this is both sides, both entrepreneurs that are creating new technologies and new endeavors, and also companies that will connect to them. So be clear about the pain, about the challenge, and so you can find the synergies and the opportunities. Many people think, wow, but a large company, so well structured, it's just having an innovation team and then they can implement it. You don't need to hire another company to do this bridge, to make this connection between the scale ups and the company. What would you say about that? Do you think that the engine behind the innovation is this relationship between different players in the market? I think that's a very important thing. It's really important to have an innovation department, especially first. We hear sometimes that the idea is not to have an innovation team, that innovations should be part of the company so you don't need an apartment. But that's a process. It's not overnight that everybody will want to be innovative in a large company, that everybody will be prone to make mistakes or will be okay with that. So the first thing is to be is to foster these initiatives in the company, and companies such as Endeavor that helps the relationship between large companies and entrepreneurs. They're very important when you're starting. So I think we have a strong role in education. We'll talk a lot about our best practices, our benchmark. We have a playbook for open innovation that brings tips and best practices for both sides, because we believe that open innovation has to be something for gain, for mutual benefit, that everybody gains. And for that, the relationship has to be good. The relationship has to go well. And a company such as Endeavor is able to be an intermediary. We are an NGO, so we want to develop the country, we want to develop entrepreneurs, we want to make a better country. So, in this sense, we can help when there is a problem. It's normal. We're talking about two very different organizations with different sizes. So it's not so natural and easy to sit down and talk. So to have a neutral player such as Endeavor is very positive, and it helps solving the conflicts that can occur. So we have this role of helping both parts talk because they are different parts. So we help them speak the same language, and we also educate the ecosystem. For large companies, sometimes it's the first or the second innovation initiative, so they're learning. So we focus on make sure that this is done the best way. It's no use having more business. We need to have better business that will develop in both sides. Giovanna, you said something very interesting. As a not-for-profit organization, the motivation is a purpose, is to build a better world, a better society. Investors recommend that companies that develop business with weapons or tobacco, harmful activities should not be fostered. Do you work with all kinds of companies, or do you select according to the nature of the business? We see the profile of the person. You talked about some examples. As far as I can remember, we have never accelerated companies within these themes, but we see the impact, the benefit that will be generated, and how much the solution will have an impact in the society and the people. So that's a very relevant thing. That's why probably we have not accelerated company in these fields. But usually we have regional programs, we have 8 offices around Brazil. So we want to be very capillary. We want to find the best entrepreneurs in Brazil. So we have offices from the south to the north. So we want to accelerate the best entrepreneurs, the best examples in each region. And in São Paulo, we have vertical programs. We have some themes that we develop over the year. We've just launched a program for retail tech. We want to find solutions that can bring productivity and efficiency to the retail industry. And we have also, we're looking for fintechs as well. So we have some themes over the year, and we look for some industries. and so it's not what you mentioned. Probably you work with professionals that are as qualified as you, a team that has an innovation culture that requires study and investment. So, how do you survive? You're not for profit. Great question. We support entrepreneurs. So when we support entrepreneurs, they pay an a monthly fee to Endeavor, so they help us keep safe and keep us financially healthy. We have the donors, the ambassadors, Luisa Helena Trajano, Pedro Passos, some entrepreneurs in Brazil, they donate to us. And we also have the relationship with large companies that sponsor some of our initiatives. So a relevant side of our revenue comes from the programs that we develop with large players in the market that sponsor our initiatives to be closer to our entrepreneurs. So these are the three ways. The entrepreneurs, they pay a fee, some individuals that donate to our company, and we have the partnership with large companies. I see the good outcomes. 2021, you have over 60 partners that trust the work of Endeavor to accelerate their innovation results. 120 business generated between large companies and scale-ups. What is the case you want to show us? The case that is very dear to you. A case that I really like is the one we had with CNA, because I think it has to do with one thing you mentioned, with has to do with the culture and engagement of the executives, of the people that is relating, the people that are have a relationship. We had Conecta Ceia, so we talked to them about some challenges and pains. So they wanted to improve the relationship with the customers, and we saw the internal pains also, communicate better with collaborators and facilitate internal processes, and we got 7 scale-ups to connect with them, and the 7 scale-ups made businesses with CNA, so they were able to get results with the 7 scale-ups. And then you ask me, why do you think they got such a nice result and could connect to many companies? And I think it had to do with the culture. They were able to engage the leaders, and Endeavor says the leaders have to be engaged because there are ups and downs in innovation. It's not linear. There will be projects that won't work. So the leaders must be engaged. And they were strong in their culture. And so everybody that was working in the project understood the importance of the project. And these were latent pains. They were able to map well their pains, and because of that, they got strong engagement. And one of the examples of one of these 7s and their outcomes, there's a project that I really like. It is a project with Winning. Winning is a platform, they map culture. So they go to social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and they map what the audience is watching. So let's suppose women 25 to 30, no kids, that live in this region. And then they bring the profile of what these women are watching, what they are consuming. And from this analysis, based on the briefing by CNA, they helped create a new program. A program, it's a stream series that was on YouTube. 3 celebrities, Fernanda Rodrigues, Giovanna Lancelot, and Fernanda Souza, hosted it. So they wanted to engage the audience and sell the clothes. So how to bring good quality content, especially now that everybody's home, that everybody was watching stream lives. So how to make that into sales. So Winning helped them think about the best format, the best channel, YouTube or Instagram, what kind of clothes they should show, the who should be the TV, the hosts. So There were 20 clothes that they showed. The store that they had with the presentation had over 32,000 visits, and it was the greatest engagement of CNA on YouTube last year. So, seeing this led to great sales for them. So, I really like this case. Giovanna, we talked a lot about latent pain. We had no pains here, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. See you next time. Bye bye. Bye bye. Well, we will continue with our Inova Clapping at a Home festival, sharing ideas, knowledge, experiences, and nice moments such as this one. I'll be right back. See you soon.